And there's
All right,
some really,
I'm pulling out on that.
Chris is pointing out there's also some very large barnacles just
Holding.
to below the Victorgorgia.
Do you have any more, Roland?
I do.
Yeah, come on in.
Yep, we've got a couple corals that are more open than the previous colony, but most of them still look like they're pretty retracted. Yeah, it looks like a crab, not necessarily a squat lobster, off to the left of it. But I can't quite tell what it's on its back. Is that a
sponge?
It is a sponge?
It looks like a sponge to me.
So we saw one of the pagonids the other day that appeared to have a sponge instead of an anemone. And this looks like another instance of that.
So, co-pilot, you're going to need to keep a very close eye on your sonar here. All right, come on out, video.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
So, like, if we get 12 meters away,
yep,
that's the
haul in.
That's the bad zone.
Yep.
I mean, it's okay, but like you definitely don't want to get closer than that 12.
Copy. Yeah, I'm starting to inch towards you now. I'm still pretty far away.
Yeah, I mean, so what you can do is pull up, and then as you get
it's
closer,
rolling.
And that'll keep you away from the wall, and allow you to look at what's out ahead of us.
All right, so we're just getting set up to take a look on this reddish colony that's likely a Paragorgia. And as normal, there's all kinds of ophiuroids, brittle stars, tied up and
Come on in, Roland.
Yeah, so I'm inching towards you now.
You're definitely moving towards me.
Well, I'm getting towards
looks like we've also,
the zone.
in addition to all of the ophiuroids, we've also got a fair number of crabs hanging out on the Paragorgia.
Remember, you guys are still alive.
Now those are not, and a squat lobster. Chris or Scott or anyone on shore, do you guys recognize these crabs? I've never seen crabs quite like this living on a Paragorgia.
If you have any more, Roland, you can come in.
They're nifty looking crabs. But yeah, they're definitely crabs, not squat lobsters.
We'll just have to continue with it. We're having phone dropouts.
Yes, we can hear you quite well.
You guys got quite the
so
spikes
Chris
on.
in the event log is saying these are lithodid crabs.
Ooh, crab on his back.
Which, like I said a minute ago, I don't think I've ever seen crabs like this, or lithodid crabs on a Paragorgia before. And there's at least two of them. It looks like from the exclamation points in the event log, I'm not the only one that's not used to seeing this.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was a 15-meter move.
Yeah, I think I've stopped moving.
Pilots, can we pan around and see how many of these
this
crabs
steep
are on this
topography,
colony?
it's good to make some small jumps.
Yeah, I just wanted to note.
So I only
I'm
see
going to
the
adjust my
two
heading a little bit to port.
Looks
like
and everything else
pretty
looks
much
like
due north
either
is
squat
still a local
lobsters
high.
or brittle stars.
Go for a wide.
I think there's a couple ophiuroids on this.
Wow, look at all the brittle stars. That's amazing. There are literally dozens. of individual ophiuroids on this
Come
colony.
on in. Yeah, hold that.
It's a partial.
I think there's actually even potentially 2 different varieties of brittle stars on here. Pilots, can we look at the
Yeah,
brittle
we can
star
do that.
center vertical, just on the edge of the left of the screen? Get a good
Come on
view
in.
at the center discs. Yeah, this one at the top, these guys at the top look very different than the other ones.
Serious
This is
camera.
2
Look at
different
Sirius
versions,
camera.
2 different varieties of brittle star on this colony as well. This is amazing. We've got a squat lobster, 2 different lithoded crabs, and 2 different varieties of brittle stars at least, and more individual associates than I think I've ever seen in a coral this community or size. Excuse me, a colony this size.
Hey, come out again. All right, come on out.
So I'm not sure what happened, but apparently tail 1 has been disconnected, so we are reconnecting into the main conference.
Okay. For those of you listening on video, we're reconnecting to the conference call. I have to explain why none of you have spoken to me in a little while.
Do you want me to adjust mini Zeus so you can see upslope? Pilot,
What's that?
do you want me to adjust mini Zeus so you can see upslope?
No, that's fine. Thank you, though.
Oh, and there comes another roughie.
Come in on the rough.
Photobombing the shot. This is, I believe, the third or fourth roughie we've seen today. And it's this is one of the only kind of predatory fish we've seen all day. We've seen a lot of smaller cardinal fish. But really, I think we've only seen that and maybe 1 scorpion fish when he was little.
Hey, coming out.
Hey, come on out.
One of the things we've noted today, or that I've noticed, is we've seemed to have a fair amount of water column filter feeders. We've seen a pyrosome, we've seen several ctenophores, a couple jellyfish, numerous salps and siphonophores kind of blowing by the top of this ridge. So it's definitely an interesting edge ecologically between where you've got the benthic habitat up on this high, but is also interacting with the water column fauna that's getting blown by the current. So not only do you have the filter feeders,
Pretty far
the
out in
sessile
front,
filter
pilot.
feeders reaching
Yeah,
up and
ready for another
collecting
little
things out
hop?
of the water, the sponges and the corals.
Yeah, you can move
We've
another
also
15.
got the
Okay.
planktonic
Due north, is that
filter
good?
feeders that are floating around the water column.
I'd say a little more to the west.
Yeah, 350.
350. Coming up. Bridge ROV nav. We're ready for another move. 15 meters, bearing 350 degrees, 0.2 knots. Good copy.
Something that I've always been fascinated with the deep ocean, and generally oceans in general, is the zonation, and how you can see these really stark lines of demarcation between one habitat and another. When we landed, the only biology we really saw were these urchins. And then as we moved upslope, only coming up, not even 50, 60 meters in water depth, we moved into this forest, these little little sponges, some Victorgorgias, and now as we've continued to move up, we've picked up more octocorals and ophiuroids, but these spiny urchins have still persisted. So we've kind of got a mixing of the different zonations here. Earlier when we first saw these, it was interesting to note that these urchins are generally detritivores. They eat things along the bottom, and so having them in congregations up on rock faces is a little unusual. So I believe it was Scott France remarked that these might actually be some kind of spawning aggregation, because we're seeing these little clusters of anywhere from five to 20 or 30 of these urchins together, generally up on the top of the rocks, which I'm not quite sure why that would be. Can we zoom in on what's probably that dead coral skeleton in there? This looks like probably a dead sclerotinian coral, that similar to what we were seeing earlier potentially. We still haven't really seen a lot of it live yet, but I'm expecting at some point today, as we continue to go up, we'll find pretty large aggregations of these things alive in a shallower depth they've fallen down. So right now the control room's a bit busy with what we're doing. You'll probably hear some other people over my open microphone that are talking to a large group of high school students in Saipan. And
I think
then
I'm
in the next
moving
30,
now.
40 minutes or so, we're going to be doing a live interaction with the high school there. And then we'll kind of get back to normal operations. Looks like we just passed a nice little shrimp. It was sitting on the bottom.
And we are right now 30 nautical miles west of Saipan. Can you guys hear Deb? Debber's just going to talk for a second.
All right, come on out.
If we go to a similar seamouth, similar water depths, some distance away, that's dead, no volcanoes near it, you think we would have this much life?
We'll talk slow.
Yeah, if there's some topography like this on those volcanoes, sure, I think there's a good possibility.
All right, Chris,
Video
Bob,
co-pilot.
I've got you guys back in my air now.
I'm getting
So-
They
the
come in
conference
on Squat
call on
Lobster.
bridge again.
Looks like we've got another
Thank you,
crab
Rich.
probably coming up here.
Come in on Squat Lobster.
Nope, she's squat lobster, not crab.
Hold that.
First step in exploration is site reconnaissance, and that is collecting general information about.
So I'm being told that my audio on shore is regretfully bad right now, but it comes and goes, and likely it will get better here in a few minutes, hopefully.
Imagery, which is the topography of the seafloor, and we collect that information with a multi-beam sonar. You can also get data about the water column using our fisheries.
All right, come in
sonars.
tighter if you have it.
You'll see things like schools of fish or gas bubbles emanating from the seafloor. We also have the sub-bottom profiler, which penetrates a few meters beneath the seafloor and can give us information about the geological context. So once we have the maps of the seafloor, we can use those to
All right, when you're happy.
exploration using the ROVs. And right now, we're going to have Roland just play that.
So the counter
One more time.
position would be that there's a concentration of life anywhere near an active volcano at the right water depth. And that hasn't
Can we
really
get
been
this
looked at
guy
for
out of
any
the
of
water?
the systems.
Can't tell if he's big or.
I think that's the same little cardinal fish we've been seeing all day,
Okay.
Robin.
All right, come on out. Come on out. There's a bit more current down here.
No, we're good down here.
Is this a new guy? Come in on this fish. Or is that another? That's another one of
That's
these
a
guys.
roughy, I believe. Oh, maybe not. Yep, it is. So pilots, it looks like while I was kicked out of the conference call, there was a snail.
Come on out.
So if you'll keep your eyes open for actually a live snail, not just a hermit crab in a snail shell, I'd appreciate
copy.
it.
Have we seen that starfish top of screen?
Yeah, if we can get a good look at this aggregation of crinoids right here, that'd be great.
Is
So
there
I'd
any
say I'm
chance to get a
stationary
sample?
Get,
Bob, I
Come
haven't
on in.
seen anything that doesn't look completely cemented. But if we see something, we will certainly try and look. Oh, is that a basket star mixed in there? This is our little echinoderm city. Looks like we've got like 5
Is
or
there any
6.
chance to get a sample?
So, Bob, I think this is still pretty consolidated right here. I don't see anything loose. I've still been trying to watch for that as we go upslope, and we're going to hit a bit of a flat area if we can get up there. And I think there might be some better hunting there.
Partial.
that thing's wild.
Wow, that's
The
amazing.
reason I think this slope might be useful is because it looks like the last layer, and so maybe it's a little bit looser on the top.
All right, everybody. Is this 2 basket stars on top of each other? Because that's what it looks like to me. With a bunch of crinoids hanging on top of them. I can't even tell what the base of. Are they all on a coral mixed in there?
Co-pilot, can I push in tight on CS?
Yeah, Brian, I agree. I don't know
You can lead it
what's
to the
on
top
what.
left of your screen.
They're kind of all sort of mishmashed together, attached to each other. There's a beautiful purple urchin that's down below,
that what
too,
you're
that we saw a little
Yep.
bit, and I don't know what that urchin is.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot going on here.
So pilots, when we get done here, there's an urchin below where we're looking now. That'd be great to get a zoom after we're done with this. But this is really interesting to see what looks like 2 basket stars on top of each other, and then probably 5 or 6 comatulate crinoids on top of the basket stars. That normally I'd expect them to be on some kind of coral skeleton, but I haven't been able to
Hey,
pick it out of the
come
mess
on
of
out.
arms yet.
We got lasers.
Partial.
All right, we can lose lasers. Let's get this urchin here.
All right, so this looks like we're going to zoom in on this purple, probably pencil urchin here. So this is just an amazing aggregation of echinoderms. All we need
I'm
is
not sure what they're doing is legal in Texas.
all we need is a holothurian, and we'll have just about every group of echinoderms.
So this is an
Check out
amazing
that
urchin.
sponge. It's got a
So I'll
polyp on
send
it.
these pictures to Rich Mbui in the Cal Academy of Sciences, and maybe some of the guys, there's some echinoderm experts here that have been on the chat. I'm not sure they're
Come back in
on
on the
today,
sponge.
but they may know what this is. But a really beautiful, beautiful
Let's
urchin.
come back in on the sponge.
Chris, do you think the one next to it that's white is dead or just an entirely different species?
Entirely different species. It's also in the pencil urchin family Sidaridae, and this looks to me like something in the genus Stereosidaris, this white one.
Yeah, it looks like we also got a sponge, another sponge with zoanthids, and there might be a gastropod on this white urchin as well, it looks like. I can't tell if there's a pagonid in there, or nope, that's actually a live gastropod. I can see its sensory antenna.
All right, anything else down here?
No, but as we fly away, if we can get a maybe a different angle on that, the basket stars and crinoids above to see what they might be all perched on top of would be great.
There's that amazing pentagonal morphology right in
Okay.
the center of the
Partial.
white urchin. Just striking in this.
Can we come wide on Sirius?
Pulling Sirius wide, partial on ROV. Sirius full wide.
Yeah, I'm not moving pilot, so feel pretty safe. I got a 15-meter delta on you.
Well, I don't know about you, Bob.
Yeah, and
but
these
I'm
cliffs, the
getting some
delta, if I'm
biology
pushed way
here.
out,
This is just totally amazing.
you can get a pretty low delta. Because they'll be way out in front. You just have to keep an eye on where the tether is.
Bob's still hunting rocks here, but we're
Yeah,
trying to
looks like
help
you're getting a
out,
little
Bob.
bit
If
farther out
I
in
if
front.
I see
Yeah, so
any type
I
of
tend
rock
to
that I think they could
push
pry
out pretty
free,
far
I'll give
on,
a shout.
when we're on steep stuff,
Okay.
so that I can
Thanks. No, I
keep
think
Sirius
there's a
back
remarkable conjunction of
without
technology.
having to get,
If
you know, I can get in close without having to
I'm
put
trying to
Sirius too
figure
close
it out,
to the cliffs.
But this is
Gotcha.
the only
Pull ROV
seamount
wide
that's
or stay
this
with partial.
shallow
You can stay
really
partial.
this close to an active volcano. So I think there's a story there. I just don't know what it is.
It looks like the cliff's pretty far away from me, too.
So we're now on the eastern side of this, like, really steep.
These
More
are
fish back there.
hydroids,
Get the fish.
and they're really, oh, there's a different fish down there. Yeah, that they're zooming in on. And take a look at that.
Yeah, pilots, if you can track fish.
The one I'm looking at?
Yep.
Yep.
It's another basket
This is a
star.
new fish for the day.
It's more. You'll have to unmute your microphone back on shore.
He doesn't want to be filmed.
Yeah, he is being quite secretive.
I just got chomped by the crab.
Yeah, I know.
But that's a huge colony of hydroids, Chris. I'm impressed with that one. Can we do a snap zoom right now as he comes out?
Yeah, come on in.
What do you think all of this life is based on? We're well below the photic zone. What is all this stuff eating?
Well, it's filtering stuff that's floating along. A lot of it is doing that, and there must be a fair amount of food in the water that's passing by to support this kind of community.
You could zoom on Sirius as well. We got a little bit of a different shot here.
But where? What's the food source?
Do you think there's any possibility that the volcano nearby that we know is active is pumping out a lot of biological stuff that maybe
Are we happy?
plankton
Yeah, I
are
think
feeding
we're
on,
good fish. No
and
one's
that could
quite sure what it is,
helping out
but
to provide
I'm not
food
sure we're going
for
to get a
this
better idea.
by,
Yeah, coming up.
extinct volcano.
Yeah,
Just
it's
stir
got to
down
be
there.
somehow ultimately hydrothermal. Whether or not it's coming from Esmeralda Bank to the south, we won't know until tomorrow.
Well,
But,
Bob, I
we
think
also don't know the current.
Come in on the
So
star.
if the currents don't flow from Esmeralda crater in this direction, then that can't be possible. But this is so far below the photic zone, this has got to be something chemosynthetic that's the base of this food chain.
Bob, I don't think so. I think this is all just photosynthetic life raining down.
And I suspect the currents are variable here. We do know there's a strong current north to south on the west side of the volcanic chain, but that could be just
All right, I got to ask the
one part
question
of the
again.
day.
Is that
And,
one or two
with
sea
tides
stars?
changing and so forth, maybe there's quite a variable current here.
So this is at 500 meters. I bet the tides don't affect it much. If it was from south to north, then that would implicate Esmeralda Bank crater. But if it's from north to south, there's nothing active to the north.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bob.
I agree with you. But it may be that the north to south currents aren't totally predominant. That's just what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Total gas here.
So I'm fairly sure this is.
Yeah, there's an interesting story here, but it would require an interdisciplinary group of people to try and figure it out.
All right, come on up. Lasers, please.
Partial.
All right, come on up. Lose the lasers.
Full wide on Sirius.
Full wide on all cameras.
Can we take a quick zoom on the Paragorgia pink upper left, moving to center screen? After we saw so much life on the last one, I'd be curious to see how this one compares to the other one, the larger colony.
Losing light if you get too close.
Yeah, this
Or
one
I can
also
bounce
has an
around.
awful lot of opioids
Either
on
perch
it
or I
too,
can
Brian,
bounce
huh?
around.
Yeah,
Come on in.
I'll be curious to see if there's any lithotic crabs on there as well, or if it's just the opioids. And what varieties of opioids. Looks like I only see the fuzzier armed version. It's an interesting
That is
shape.
one weird place to set up shop.
It is completely, look at how it's grown around the rocks and has completely filled that little gap between those rocks.
Pulling out a little bit.
That's a growth pattern that's really unique. And there's a nice little aggregation of what looks like probably dead Desmophyllum cup corals right above it as well. I've seen several of them dead and only a couple of them live so far this dive.
Yep, I'm checking now. Kelly is on the phone with
Those rings, are those
Ferdy
old
and
barnacles
Roy.
or something?
Come out. Oh, there's a snail on there.
Ooh, let's look at the snail.
Nav,
I don't see
co-pilot.
it yet.
Yeah, there's barnacles
co-pilot.
here, and there's
How
been
is the
some
pink
huge
feature?
barnacles, so those small ones could be the
we've got a
remnants
bit to go.
of the really big ones that we saw
It just
live
keeps going
Come
up.
on
a
out.
little
Roland.
further down.
Okay, so we're not anywhere close to the peak.
No, this is a local high.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
In the top left-hand view of Stream 3, the quad viewer, now it's set up actually on Stream 2, you can see how pointy this little tip we're working on. It really is the summit of a little local high, but it's an impressively steep feature. So the pilots on the last zoom saw a gastropod, and they're trying to set back up to get a closer look at it, Scott, to see if it's that split shell you were looking at earlier. Get a better view of it.
All right, come on in, Roland.
Yeah, David, I agree with that observation. I feel like most of the good colonial stony colonies of coral are dead here.
I'll try and answer that one.
Oh, it's a hermit crab. Come on in.
Okay.
You have any more, Roland?
I do. Just
Yeah.
waiting for stability.
Oh, yep. It's a hermit crab.
It's a very good specimen. His shell is very white.
Great shot, though. Science is good when video is with this one, though.
I'll want this for a few seconds. Once I can get it focused. Okay, video's clear with this.
All right, come on up. We full wide on Sirius?
Yes, you are.
All right, let's look around a little bit. You can come up a little bit, Andy.
Okay.
See, we're getting close now, so
Yeah, it was
as we get closer, pull up on and be more above me. Increase the delta.
Can we go in on the Sea Star?
Yeah, I'm coming in on that.
Perfect.
Yep.
Can you guys still hear me on the conference call,
Yep,
or have
come
we
on in.
lost the conference call as well?
Come on in, Roland.
Conference call is still connected. I'm not sure if the data is good, but we are still physically connected to the line.
Beautiful view of a sea star here. It's got all
Did that
kinds of...
sea star just eat an urchin and leave all its spines there on the seafloor next to it?
So we've been seeing, Tara, we've been seeing these...
No, probably not, Patty. The spines just presumably accumulate over time. There's enough urchins in the areas, and they just kind of gather in these little gaps over time. But this sea star, I don't know what this is. I've never seen one that's this spiny before.
We've been seeing these urchin spine aggregations or collections throughout
Pulling
this
out the
entire
full
dive. Some
specimen.
of them have been on
Yep.
the order of a meter
Can I get
wide.
I think
lasers
that's
for
called a
color?
porcupine star.
Lasers are also on the Joy box.
I'm logging into Twitter now to see if Chris Ma is tweeting what this
Something
this
red at the top.
sea star is. He said he wasn't going to be
Come on.
available.
I'm
to
not
call
sure
in.
there's too many fish that are going to be willing to bite off one of his arms.
Opioid? Do you have any more?
That's Max.
Beautiful red, very long-legged ophiuroid. I've seen several of these on the rocks as we've driven by. I think this is the first one we've gotten a good zoom on today.
Okay, video's clear.
Okay, come on up.
Full line.
So it looks like the kind of, as we move to this side, which we're now coming onto the west side of the local ridge, there appears to be less life.
We want to put another move in.
Yeah. Looking out at the blackness right now. Let me come over to starboard here.
So it's going to take just a minute here while we figure out where we can.
Can you
safely
bump
go
out my
next.
sonar?
It looks like we have
Co-pilot
run out of seafloor.
or nav?
I got it.
Thanks, Nav.
30 meters.
Yeah, keep bumping.
Huge drop off front of us. Is that true?
Yep, that is absolutely true. It looks like we are on a little local high, and the pilots are currently trying to figure out.
All right,
if
so
we have to jump off.
looks
into
like
blue
we
water,
just have to head north.
Or if we
You
can
want to do
contact
15
the bottom.
meters? Or
More than that.
you want to make that hot?
Let me see.
So
It's 40
we've
away.
seen
That feature.
this type of
Let's
thing
do,
before where part
Let's do
the wall of the bank is actually cracked off and is
25.
separated from the wall.
25 meters
And
at
these things are just packed with animals. We've seen them in the line. I sort of wondered whether or not
At like,
completely sediment
maybe
free
10
because
degrees.
they're away from the main bank, so they're
Copy
not
that.
getting the
Coming up.
sediment falling down
yeah, I'm gonna look
from
on
the
the
main
side
bank.
of this as we
Bridge, ROV nav.
All right, so the pilots can see the probably the main
We're
bank,
ready
or at
for
least
another
the
ship
next
move.
fragment,
2.5
gap.
meters.
So we're gonna
bearing
stay here
0,
for
1,
I don't think
0,
there's much
this,
sediment
0
moving
decimal
through
2
the
knots.
system.
over
I
through the
guess
blue
My
my
water.
heading's
hydrothermal
approximately 10
activity, but
degrees, pilot.
we would need a CPG cast survey of the area to figure that out.
let's come in on the fish. I think we've seen this guy, but
Good
no
copy.
idea.
Oh,
Yeah,
another
so
roughie.
I don't know when, Brian, the pilots are going to be ready to make the leap over to the main bank wall and continue up. We haven't made a whole lot of headway on depth, so it'd be kind of good.
This is another
You're probably hanging out until the end of the live session,
coral
but
with the two
when
types
that's
of
over,
opioids on it.
maybe we could start heading up again and try to get up a little further.
Yeah, Chris, they're ordering ship moves now to start heading that way. It's not actually that far, it looks like, by sonar. So we're going to hang out here and let Sirius get a little bit closer, and then they'll jump.
Great, thanks.
All right, let's come out.
Let's see if we can find something interesting to look at.
So the nice thing about these shallow dives, though, is we have a lot of time on bottom. So
Come
we
in
won't
on this
have to
guy
leave
again?
the bottom till after
Just
4
different
o'clock
fish.
ship time. So that gives us 4.5, almost 5 hours still remaining on the bottom. Now, so this is something interesting. It looks like this guy's got a couple parasites on him, which I think we commented earlier in the cruise how few parasites we've seen on fish here compared to other places we've been where parasitism on the fish seemed to be rampant. And I wasn't 100% sure they were actually parasites, but it looked
There's
like it
got
had
to
a
be
couple
something
pods
those
on it.
brittle stars like about being in that coral. I have no idea what it is.
Something fuzzy orange left
It's
of
bubble
lasers.
gum.
Come on in.
It's like chewing bubble gum.
Here's another actually
Dead
big
star.
aggregation of this urchin spines as well. The lasers on right now looks like all urchin spines.
They don't seem to care for the sponges. They don't seem to care for the purple coral. They want that bubble gum.
See the clear floaty at the top of the screen?
So I can't quite, there's something semi-transparent in the water column that we were just trying to get a zoom on, and I couldn't quite make out what it is. If I had to venture a guess, I'd say it was some kind of ctenophore, but I didn't actually see the teens beating on it, so I'm not sure.
Full white.
So on a typical ROV cruise, we're only mapping at night. So we can expect to map an area probably about the size of the state of Rhode Island. We also do dedicated mapping cruises where we're mapping 24 hours a day. And at about that time, we can map.
Pilots while waiting, can we get a look at the big Victor Gorgia your lasers on right now?
Yep.
So actually,
Come on in, Roland.
running these operations since
Can we push in on Sirius also?
about 2 months ago.
Oh, here we go. Here's a Victor Gorgia with all its
Sure.
polyps out.
Kilometers mapped. That was from 2008 to 2016. That's kind of amazing. But it's a lot of mapping data. It's great.
It looks like another sclerotinian coral skeleton just below it, potentially.
It's a partial on ROV.
You can come in tight.
Pulling Sirius out a little.
Yeah.
Pulling out a little bit.
Yeah.
Bridge ROV nav. Was that last move initiated?
Yeah, I don't think I'm moving. Yeah, I haven't really felt like I've been moving.
Science is good here, pilot.
Okay, thank you.
All right, coming out. What was the response now?
Full wide on Sirius, please. Thank you.
What did they say now?
They said it took a while for the thrusters to ramp up to what they needed to. I just noticed on high pack that we hadn't moved in a bit.
Pilot, the white colony bottom right screen, what's at the base of that? I can't tell from here. Is it just the holdfast that looks color difference, or is there something
Yeah,
right
now,
where your lasers
now
are?
the ship's starting to move. Okay.
Come on in, Roland. Little fish.
Oh yeah. I don't
I
recognize
can't get
that
any
fish
closer
yet.
to this guy,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Oh, oh, it's a scorpion fish. I was looking at it upside down. Oh, yep. It's another one of the some type of scorpion fish we've been seeing intermittently over the last 2 dives. When I first looked at it, I saw his dorsal fins and thought it was something on his
Okay,
ventral
come
side.
on out.
There's another starfish at the bottom.
Come on out. Yeah, I can't really get to that.
That's fine. That was good enough for an ID.
Yeah.
There's another floaty center left.
Pilot, do you feel comfortable coming down in depth a little bit and seeing what's further down on this wall while we're waiting? Or if you need to swing back to the Sirius side,
I can
that's
come
fine.
down this way.
Yeah,
I just
that's
don't want to
fine.
get around the pinnacle too much.
Yep.
Wrap my tether.
I think we've gotten a pretty good idea of what's at the top. Let's see what the zonation looks like if we come down a
And the
little
ship
bit.
is moving, so I don't have much time down here.
Sure. Just a quick overview would be great.
I might have just started moving.
Yeah, you're probably moving right now.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to haul in a little bit. Still pretty far out in front.
All right, I'm going to come up.
Okay, I'm going to haul in more then.
Let's get the floaty.
Zoom in on something in the water column. I'm going to take a guess and say siphonophore, given it looks like it's got tentacles that are retracted, but it could also be a salp.
Heading down, come on down. Call 217. Abraham, come on down or call 217.
In the lower left, there's a purple blob at the base of one of the white corals. Is that any different from the sponges? Any different from the corals we've been seeing?
We're looking up at the. It looks like you've got a pretty good delay. So if you, for any scientists on shore, please make sure you're looking at the full res stream and not the YouTube feed, because the YouTube feed's going to be so far delayed. It's going to be really hard to work with us. So please use the links that Deb sends around every day in her email to ensure you've got the lowest latency video to be able to work with us. If you guys have Stream 3 up, you've got almost a downward-looking view from Sirius on top of D2 that you can see how steep this pinnacle is on all sides. This truly is a pinnacle.
And there's something floating right in the middle of the screen. Is it one of those unidentifiable purple things that we saw earlier in the midwater?
Okay, I'm going to push out.
All right. So
Okay.
Sirius is caught up to D2,
Still
so
heading
they're
at
getting into
1-0, right?
formation to do a midwater swim. So we're going to cross
Or that
from
was
this
the move.
pinnacle
Move's
over
probably
next
complete
to
by now, right?
the next
Ship
targets on
looks like
sonar,
just getting to
which
station
are
right now. Yep.
only 20 meters or so. So hopefully we'll be able to jump over there fairly quickly and won't spend a lot of time in the mid-water. But as we do, keep your eye out for pretty gelatinous things swimming by.
Thank you, Bridge. Confirmed. Yeah, the ship's in position.
Okay. Do we want to put in another pilot?
Let me push out a little bit.
I can see some white in the
Yep.
ROV.
And now I can just start to see white things coming into view on
Okay, I
the
got
new
you
wall.
at 35 degrees. You're pretty far out.
Seems like there's a ledge to the bottom and off to the right.
I think that's about as far as you're going to get, pilot.
And I can see a few pieces of sessile fauna down lower, but this side looks substantially less inhabited
Can
than
you look
the
down?
previous pinnacle we were just
Me?
on.
Yeah.
Tilting down.
Yeah, certainly.
What's your
less
altitude,
inhabited.
25?
This is amazing.
I don't think I'll be able to see the bottom.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
That
So
is straight down.
All right, so let's come down a little bit.
So Sirius has still
Okay,
got
pay now.
Then
a
tilt back up.
25 meter or so altitude. So it looks like this
Am I
will
gonna
be
try to
Turn off your
acquire bottom?
intercom, you'll be clear.
25 or 30 meters high. So the
Yeah, just
pilots
watch
are
the
coming
tether.
down just a touch to
Phone line is clear.
hopefully acquire the bottom
Okay,
lower
so
down
it
the
looks
thing,
like
and then we'll
it's
climb up this wall.
kind of getting over top of me a little bit here.
So the live interaction just ended. So I'm sure Dev and Diva will want to step out for a minute and get a
Hang
drink
out.
of coffee or whatever, but we'll be turning it back over to them here momentarily.
Let's come in here.
All right, so now the live interaction's over. The control room is somewhat returning to state of calm. So we found ourselves a nice little hermit crab, it looks like. It looks like its anemone might be on the bottom side, though. Its anemone just looks like it's retracted down.
Okay, if I pay out any more, pilot, I'm going to have that bathymetry to my starboard. Kind of getting close.
Yep. So let's move you another 10 meters. Do you feel like you've stopped moving?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like the current's a lot less here.
Well, when we get down low, it is.
You guys still thinking of a heading about 10 degrees?
Yep.
I'll call it in. 10 meters.
Yeah, come on out, roll.
So it's going to take another ship
Bridge
move
RV
here
nav.
to get us close enough to really start climbing the wall.
We're ready
they're
for a
putting the
small ship
in
move.
now,
10
and it'll take only
meters, bearing
4 or 5 minutes.
010
And we'll be able
degrees,
to start
0.2 knots.
heading up the wall. So we've got some kind of white coral and
All right, come on in.
some form of star. Not sure if it's a Bersingid or, yep, looks like a Bersingid. It's missing a couple arms.
legs.
So as much as these look like brittle stars, they're actually
0.2
sea
knots, good
stars,
copy.
asteroids. And they're filter feeders, so it's got its legs up in the
This little red dot on the left.
water column to collect things as it floats by.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to zoom in, Roland. I've got a lot of tether pull.
Partial.
It does look like there's also probably a little squat lobster off to the right, but we are right out at the end of our leash, so we can't get any closer yet until the ship and Sirius catch up. So we'll be just kind of staying here doing some medium zooms at distance
I'm going to
until
pull
the
out
other,
and sort of look left and right.
until the ship moves. It's really think about the navigation of what it takes to keep us close to the wall in these kind of terrains is really pretty an amazing ballet of you've got 3 different bodies all moving, the ship, Sirius, and D2, and connected in today's case only 400 or 500 meters of cable, but in other dives, 6,000 meters, several miles of cable. The analogy I like to use is basically tying 2 remote-controlled matchbox cars together, throwing them out of a
what's the bearing
six-story
to our
window,
waypoint?
and trying to look at earthworms with them in your
4 or
driveway.
5 fish.
21
top
degrees.
left.
I have it selected up here.
Okay.
Oh, so we're
So
heading,
we're
right
heading in
towards
the
it.
right direction.
Yeah. Yep.
Video swapping out.
I can show you the global feature if you'd like.
A couple more of the
Give you late.
That's
Pagano
fine. I was
cardinal
just,
fish down
you
here.
know, the fact that we're following the high is taking us towards that waypoint. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
How far are we away from it?
About 463 meters.
Okay. You moving yet, co-pilot?
A little bit.
Yeah, it looks like you're checking along. All right,
So
back with the
pilots,
pilot.
once we
Coming up.
get in position
out.
and make contact with this wall, I think, and since it's
Full
so
way.
much less inhabited, I think the hope here will be to make some tracks and try and make some of the shallower depths so we can explore in the 300-meter depth range like we did yesterday.
Let's zoom in on this floater.
Zooming in.
Thank you, Bridge.
Come in tight.
Zooming in.
Something floating in the
Holding.
water column.
I can't get a good focus. There we go.
Anyone got thoughts on this one?
That is cool looking. Is that our lights shining on it?
Yeah, I can't focus
I
any closer.
don't have even a clue what to
Like right
guess
at
on
max.
this one. Shoreside scientist. Any ideas? I'm getting no question marks, and it's cool, but have no idea. What do the larval phases of sea stars look like?
Hey, come on out.
Zooming out.
Well, that one might just remain a mystery for a while.
You've acquired the wall. How much more do we have in that? Is that the full move?
I think so.
Yeah, move complete.
Zoom in on this guy.
Zooming in.
Same guy.
Holding.
Yep. It's like another Pagonan hermit crab with as an enemy.
I'm going to cut out the lasers. Holding.
Yeah, when you're happy, video.
Just a few more seconds.
Yeah. I can give you 3.
Figurative few. And
Getting photobombed by another
video's
little
clear.
cardinal
Nope,
fish.
nope. Let's keep the fish. Kill the lasers, please.
Gotta hold it. Yeah.
These little fish have been just amazingly common today.
All right, zooming out.
Okay.
Full wide.
I'm just waiting to see some larger fish predators around. I'm talking on OKX.
Pilot, would you like me to bring your sonar back in, or?
Yeah, you can bump it in 1.
There's 30.
Should we put another move on as well? I'm still pretty far from the.
Can you guys still hear
face.
me on the conference
Yeah, we
call?
can do another 15.
Okay.
15.
So for those of you, all right, perfect. Thank you, Patty.
I'll call it in.
So
Yeah, I'd say more to like
Scott just
1.5.
put in a
Okay.
a comment about
Okay, that's where I'm headed.
the
now.
Bridge, ROV nav.
the little hermit crab we just saw in there, an enemy.
Come on in.
The pedal disc of the anemone that enwraps the
Like another ship move,
shell in which the
15
hermit crab
meters,
lives and
bearing
secretes a
15
thin
degrees, 0
chitinous,
decimal
I'm
2
not even
knots.
try that word, that lies
Any
between
more?
the pedal disc and
Got
the
him.
ectoderm.
I got more. Zooming
Yeah.
in.
So the
good.
shell surface,
Good copy.
the pterochinoecium,
Holding here.
also
It's a
extends
hermit crab.
beyond the lip of the underlying shell,
Is it a hermit crab?
enlarging the living
Slug.
chamber of the hermit
Oh,
crab.
there you go.
Association with the hermit crab profoundly affects
Thank
the
you,
anemone's
Bridge.
anatomy.
Okay,
The
hold
pedal
on.
disc diameter is much greater
Check,
than
you
that
can
of the
partial
oral
No, no,
disc,
just
Okay.
stay
and the
there.
column is much longer than the sides, so it follows the curve of the gastropod shell than is on the diametrically opposite side, and some of the mesenteries are displaced as they grow and follow the curve of the shell. Scott, could you put any more big words in that? I mean, to describe something.
All right, here's
But
that
thanks a lot
snail.
for that information. Oh, excellent. Thank you, pilot.
You have
So
any
here's the-
more, or is that it?
Zooming in.
Scott, is
That's
this
false.
is this the gastropod that you were seeing earlier?
That's a cool shell.
Yeah, it's a beautiful one.
Just chilling. Eat some detritus off the rock.
So, Scott, was this the same one you were looking for earlier, or is this a different one? Okay, this is not the same one we were looking for, but so science is happy when video is.
Hey, come on up.
Zooming out.
Lasers. Lasers.
We're at partial right now until we get some lasers on. There you go.
This guy's pretty little, only maybe 2 centimeters long, maybe 3.
Yeah,
Okay,
come on
zoom
up.
out. Full wide.
Still on the hunt for that snail.
Yep.
Oh, we are looking for snails?
Yeah, there's like a snail that they want to see.
Okay.
How you doing, co-pilot?
Good. Just was pulling up a little bit when
When you started to
when
move.
you asked for lasers. Yeah, I'm moving for
Okay.
sure.
Come on in, video.
Zooming in.
So we're now on. The vehicles are facing to the northeast.
Holding
So
here.
we're looking. Ooh, is this some kind of bivalve?
If it is, it doesn't look alive.
Yeah, looks like some kind of dead bivalve shell.
All right.
Zooming out. Full wide.
It's a little coral here. Let's do a quick zoom on this guy.
Zooming in.
So now the vehicles are looking to the northeast.
Holding here.
Looks like a little chrysogorgia.
Okay, come in tight.
Zooming in.
This is actually the first chrysogorgia of this morph we've seen
Holding
today.
here.
And it's got a commensal in there. I can't tell if it's a shrimp or a squat lobster yet. But as we climb this wall facing the northeast,
All right.
we
Zoom
see
out.
a lot less life. And actually, that pinnacle, I think we were seeing something similar. That
Full wide.
the side when
Yeah,
the
when I
vehicles
call
were
all,
facing the
all right,
southeast,
I mean, you can hold it if you want a
it
couple
was,
more seconds.
Excuse me,
Okay.
facing the southwest, the life was definitely oriented on that
I'm
side.
just
of the
letting you
pinnacle,
know that
preferentially from the other side.
I think science is okay with it, or whenever you're okay, we can move on.
Yeah, I think pilots is as fast as we can come up this area and get back to the ridge would be the preference of the science community.
Copy. Let's take a look at this sponge right here.
Okay, on your
Yep,
your
come
rig.
on in.
Zooming in.
Oh, it's
Nope.
coral.
Holding.
Yep, looks like we've got a coral here with a few ophiuroid associates. I'm not sure what kind of coral this is.
Okay, let's come in tight.
Zooming in. Holding here. Full zoom.
Ship's in position.
Yeah, I'm still pretty far away.
Right, come on up.
Zooming out. Full wide.
Yeah, if I say I got a boogie, then it's usually I got to move and then come right out.
You're pretty far out in front right now, pilot.
Okay, we can do another, say 20 meters,
Works for me.
and we'll come up.
So, geologist, does this feel like more or less the same rock type, this cemented